Voices has been reporting on the criminality of Wisconsin's short line railroad, Wisconsin and Southern, an operation that is highly subsidized by taxpayers and operates on more than 500 miles of tracks that the state of Wisconsin owns and are leased to Wisconsin and Southern through a few publicly owned transportation authorities, which is just another form of taxpayer subsidy. The first convictions in the ongoing drama that is now known as Walkergate, the criminality that underlies Scott Walker's ascent to power, began when Bill Gardner pled guilty to 2 felonies, illegally bundling excessive campaign contributions for then County Executive Scott Walker. Using a core group of Wisconsin and Southern employees to launder political contributions to support Scott Walker, Gardner provided the Walker campaign with about $60,000. Bill Gardner sold his shares in Wisconsin and Southern in a secret deal reported to be worth $70 million. It appears that the crimes he committed in collusion with key railroad employees were very lucrative indeed. Bill Gardner sold the railroad to the largest privately held transportation holding company in the world, WATCO, and these business interests can be indirectly tied to Koch Industries, the Koch brothers. And now we may know what this criminality was all about. It appears to many that what we saw was a massive pay-for-play to reward Koch brothers' interests. This is all about frac sand that oil and gas drillers like Koch Industry need by the trainload. Largely unreported by Wisconsin news media, there has been a plan in the work for years to acquire an old Reedsburg to Madison rail corridor, a property that current owner Union Pacific has neglected and allowed to deteriorate, though currently Wisconsin and Southern operates that line on a long-term lease. Want to see what a frac sand train looks like? A Voices TV crew just happened to catch a string of more than 100 of these freight cars rolling through the west end of Madison the day after Thanksgiving. The Reedsburg-Madison tracks pass along the edge of Wisconsin's huge silica sandstone formations, massive deposits of essentially pure silica crystals, just what Koch Industries need to frack gas and oil. No wonder the Koch brothers have invested millions of dollars into the political career of Scott Walker, his recall election, and his legal defense fund. Voices has confirmed with Jeff Plaley, Wisconsin Railroad Commissioner, that purchasing this corridor is largely a done deal. At least $50 million will be put in the 2013-2014 budget to subsidize the largest transportation holding company in the world, so that Koch Industry has a limitless amount of very inexpensive frac sand. Another high-level official at Wisconsin's DOT has confirmed this with Voices, and we've talked to the Union Pacific Railroad, which will not issue a public comment, but does acknowledge that negotiations are taking place. Earlier this year, Governor Scott Walker gave Wisconsin and Southern millions of dollars in federal railroad grants. Remember, this has always been a highly subsidized railroad to the tune of many tens of millions of dollars, socializing costs while Wisconsin and Southern privatizes revenues and profits. In September 2012, Walker awarded his friends at WATCO's Wisconsin and Southern $4 million in federal grants and then a $500,000 publicly subsidized loan. Some of this money is earmarked to repair the Merrimack Bridge on the lightly used Reedsburg to Madison rail line. Wisconsin and Southern is getting a $5 million project and is only responsible for paying back a $500,000. Now that's a sweetheart deal. Much of this money will be used to rebuild the key bridge on the Reedsburg-Madison line, bringing it up to modern standards to carry heavy commodities like frac sand. WATCO's interests in Wisconsin and Southern appear to be based on reports that gas drilling is going to increase, and Koch Industries will want to buy all of the silica sand that Wisconsin can produce. And Wisconsin and Southern's role in transporting this commodity will be a stable cash cow, where Wisconsin taxpayers are billed for most costs and the largest privately held transportation holding company in the world takes most of the revenues and profits out of state. Even if one agrees that private railroads should receive massive public subsidies, taxpayers must ask, What is a reasonable cost for the public to absorb so that WATCO can make more money? One of Wisconsin's largest railroads and one of the largest transportation systems in the world, Canadian National, recently invested $35 million of its own capital to resurrect an abandoned rail line to serve Superior silica sand and other frac processing plants in northern Wisconsin. Canadian National stretches from coast to coast across our neighbor to the north, and then has lines that feed into Chicago from both the east and the west, and then down to Louisiana and the Gulf of Mexico. So as a result of its private investments, Canadian National will be able to take sand from the processing or mining plants in northern Wisconsin almost all the way to its final users, the markets in Louisiana, Texas, Pennsylvania, and other states. The rail line that Canadian National fixed up was about 40 miles long. Jeff Plaley at the Wisconsin Railroad Commission confirms that the typical cost of fixing up rail lines is somewhere between $1 and $2 million per mile. Canadian National, a large multinational corporation, is making a private investment and will handle the long haul, justly earning revenues and profits from this investment. The state of Wisconsin is about to be hijacked for at least $40 million or more just to purchase a rundown and deteriorating property, the Reedsburg-Madison line, which is approximately 50 miles long. Taxpayers have already paid millions of dollars to rebuild the bridge on that line. How many more $1 million will Scott Walker funnel to his friends at WATCO's Wisconsin and Southern? The $40 million, which will be used to purchase this line from Union Pacific, does not include a single penny to bring the line up to safe operating standards. It's really just a windfall gift for the Union Pacific Railroad and does not even begin to fix up the rail line so that it can safely haul freight and heavy commodities like frac sand. After this purchase, some entity is going to have to come up with another $50 million or more to fix up the tracks once the state becomes the owner. Wisconsin and Southern is a short line. The best it can do is haul frac sand from this region to the Mississippi River to turn over to the Burlington Northern and Santa Fe, to the Fox Valley to turn over to multinational Canadian National, or the Wisconsin Southern can take this commodity to Chicago to turn over to another, larger transnational railroad. The best Wisconsin Southern can do is participate in the short haul, earning a small piece of the lucrative freight revenue. Why are Wisconsin taxpayers subsidizing the largest privately held transportation holding company in the world to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars so that WATCO's Wisconsin and Southern can haul frac sand a few hundred miles to turn over to larger private rail systems for the more profitable long haul? This is not a responsible public investment. This is a massive giveaway of taxpayer dollars, trainloads of money that cannot be economically justified. But it does provide a cash cow to WATCO, which told Wisconsin Assemblyman Brett Halsey that 70% of its business is with Koch Industries. Connect the dots. Bill Gardner's crimes against our democracy, bundling campaign contributions in historic proportion, the collusion of key railroad employees laundering this money through their personal checkbooks, and then WATCO, connected to Koch Industries, moves in and snaps up the railroad. WATCO's own internal documents, which Voices has obtained, do show that their largest customer is indeed Koch Industries, and they have told Brett Halsey that 70% of their business is with this organization. The Koch brothers have invested millions of dollars into the political career of Scott Walker, his recall campaign, and now his legal defense fund. This looks like a huge pay-for-play, where taxpayers are indirectly underwriting the political aspirations of Scott Walker, while he subsidizes the fortunes of his largest multinational corporate backers.